main skill that changed my career trajectory: sales and persuasion. Mistakes that people make, not knowing how to showcase their skills. Sometimes 300 to 500 applicants per role. Graduated and I was still doing door-to-door sales, and then I was gardening for about 4 months. Then I managed to secure an internship at Accenture. So the world is changing fast. The ones that will thrive quickly are those that pick up new skills fast.
What skill do you think young people should be focusing on that's going to help them be winning when they're 30 or 40 years old? Today we're joined by Dominic. Dominic, you're building a platform around the idea that CVs are becoming obsolete and employers should hire for real skills instead. Looking back at your own career, what's the one skill that changed your trajectory and how did you actually develop it?
I would say what would be sales, and a mixture of sales and persuasion, and being able to communicate ideas and my value clearly. And a large reason why I say the combination of those three skills was because I realized that there's people who progressed in their career, or my peers who progressed, who, similar to me, may have not gone to a Oxbridge or a Russell Group University, but they were able to package their value and the value proposition of themselves. And those who communicate ideas could create really good momentum. So I said to myself, I need to definitely work on being able to sell myself and understand what a company's looking for, how to ask better questions, and how to communicate my value as a graduate with a law degree with not that much experience. And that changed things drastically for me. It allowed me to, go to networking events, meet people, and explain to them, who I am, what I want to do with my career, my goals. And it helped build really smart partnerships and then get me internships which led to jobs. Yeah, the main thing for me, I would say, is persuasion and good communication.
And so when you say sales, at the end, you almost said, you rephrased it a bit, you said good communication. What do you think sales is? Is it just good communication? What goes into getting good at that?
Good question. So sales to me is being able to transfer some sort of energy, why you need to do something or why you should buy something, and whether that's buying into me or buying into a product I'm selling, how it will improve your current situation. And that transfer, you have to feel it. The other person has to feel it, whoever you're selling to. So in terms of being able to sell, and why it's super important for early careers, is if you have a CV as an example with not much history of experience, and you're relying on your skills essentially that you've developed with the hope that an employer, a decision maker, a budget holder is going to believe in you, you need to be able to communicate your value and talk about your technical skills, your soft skills, experiences that may have come from doing a dissertation, being a part of a rugby club, a football club, some sort of society, which could showcase your leadership skills, your team working skills, your resilience, as an example. So it's quite important that you can communicate that value and transfer that energy to someone, so they can believe that, well, if they've done this, they will probably thrive and do well in this organization. Because we all know there's a lot you can learn on the job. There's tons that most people learn more on the job. so as long as you can transfer that energy of your experience and your history to a decision maker, I believe you should be in a good position in your career.
Yeah, I totally get that. I think the transfer of energy is really important. When you're in an interview, you can make that other person feel so great about themselves, even as the interviewer, through giving them that energy and transferring it and showing your passion. How does a young person get reps at that almost? I don't know when you started this sort of development of this as a skill and being a good communicator and energy transfer in your career, Where did it start for you, and then how can a young person sort of like emulate that?
A large part of it started probably at home, I would say. And that would be interactions with my sister, my mom, convincing my mom that I want to go out to a party. And then it led to, uh, working part-time while at university, um, in a sales environment. I worked in Zara retail store, um, and then doing door-to-door sales, massively taught me sales skills. I mean, I was going door to door in the
That's
rain
tough work.
sometimes.
That's tough
It,
work.
yeah, convincing, knocking on people's doors, with like, knocking on doors knowing that they have dogs, like they could send these dogs out to bite me, and maintaining my composure, articulating myself, and explaining, why they should buy some sort of product that I was selling, which at the time was converting people from like British Gas to Npower.
Cool.
Um, in terms of developing the skill and the reps, short answer was just practice. From home environment to maybe a part-time job you have, because you're always selling. You're always selling. So you're selling an idea, or if you're going out on a date, you're convincing a girl or a guy to take you seriously and commit to you. It's always a sell.
I love it. I think it's really important. A lot of people have like this a stereotype of sales being a terrible thing, and like learning to persuade is a bad thing. I think a lot of people are over that now, and from what you're saying, it's like get a job doing something sales related. Learn how to become good
Yeah.
at it. And then obviously it's made a big impact throughout your whole career. You started, did you get a grad job straight out of uni?
No, I wish. I graduated and I was still doing door-to-door sales, and then I got fed up of that job, and then I was gardening for about 4 months, hated it, and then I stopped just completely and just went. I had some savings, I managed to save some money, and then I was networking like constantly, like just going to all of these events that I could find, in law, business, and I went to events and then I met people, and then I managed to secure an internship at Accenture. So we all know Accenture, massive consultancy firm, and yeah, that internship I would say just changed everything for me. Um, I secured the internship and then found a job at Channel 5, and then within a year of working at Channel 5, I got contacted by someone from Accenture to interview for a full-time role as an analyst. I interviewed and then I secured a job, and then I was on really good money. I think I was like 23 or something, 24. I was, yeah, really, really happy. So it took me some time. I didn't get a grad scheme, or, that wasn't my journey. It took some time, I'd say probably a year and a half, almost two, to get a good job. So yeah.
I hear it. It's very cool. I think that traditional route is often like glorified so much. I think it's important that young people see that there's
Yeah.
different options out there.
Yeah.
What do you think are like a lot of mistakes that young people are making now when looking for their first job? Like, you might look back at your own experience or from people you spoke to.
Yeah, mistakes that people make. I would say number one, um, would be not knowing how to, showcase their skills. That is the number one thing. Believing that they don't have any skills because they may have only have gone to university, or they may have never worked a job in a day in their life. So they think, I don't have any skills, when, as I said earlier, you do. If you were a part of some sort of society, if you wrote a dissertation during university, if you put on an event at university, which I did as an example, I put on a Christmas ball for the Law Society, and that was event planning, that was project management. Number one skill I see young people make all the time is think, I don't have any skills. When you do, you probably have resilience and problem solving, good communication. You probably, have planned an event, list these things. You have transferable skills, don't leave them out. That's a number one problem. Then the second thing is staying at home too much. Yep. I think young people sometimes they rely on the internet way too much. When you need to get up and go outside, you have to go and meet people face to face. Nothing beats it. I'm not one of these millennials that will say you should be in the office every day. No, 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 that's not what I'm saying. But when you are in the early stages of your career, you absolutely need to be meeting people face to face, in connection, and building a rapport with them so they can look into the whites in your eye and be like, okay, this person really wants this. Because nothing beats that. Like, yeah, we can do a Zoom call. You can be on a call on Google Hangout, but nothing beats going somewhere and meeting someone, showing up to a company's event. Let's just say one of these massive companies has an event like, I don't know, Deloitte, KPMG, Accenture, and you come across it on LinkedIn, go to the event. Don't just sign into the webinar. Go and meet someone, because maybe talent acquisition's in the room, maybe a hiring manager's in the room, maybe someone that is a graduate's in that room. And that graduate, you could exchange details with them, and then you could say, hey, I want to apply for this role. Here's my CV. Could you help me? I want to be in your position. Nothing beats that over just being at home and crossing your fingers and sending out applications, because everyone is doing that right now. Everyone is relying on these tools that allow you to apply for 100 jobs with one click and one click apply, and all these AI tools. So you need to stand out, and that's the reason we built CareerGuard, so you can apply with, by taking skills tests, or apply with your digital CV, which is a new feature we've created. So the main problem I see young people making is not knowing their skills and believing they have any, and 100% staying at home, which is probably not something you hear a lot, but I think people need to get up and get outside more.
I think that's key because you see it everywhere online. Everyone's idolizing the remote lifestyle and
Yeah.
never going in person. And being in person early in your career, I think is fundamental for your growth of just like climbing quicker. Part of what you said there is really interesting though, and it kind of stands out to me as like, how do young people become more memorable? Like, you're saying you need to get out and talk to people. What can a young person show to a hiring manager or a job that they're applying to that helps them stand out? Because, like a lot of people join a society and do something like that. So like, what's something different that people can do? Maybe something you've seen and that helped them stand out.
Mm, okay, that's a good one. What I've seen that makes people actually stand out typically is the people that can prove that they are really motivated to build a career in a certain space. I've seen that quite a lot. So I'm working with a client at the moment, and they're in the construction sector. And one of the hiring managers said to me, the people that apply and stand out are people that may not have come from a family of construction workers. They may have studied engineering, but their side hustle or what they do part time is directly linked to the career, or is in a similar field, right? Really similar space. So let's just say, as an example, you're applying to become a junior architect or something like that, right? Or I don't know, a project manager or site manager. Let's just use an example of a site manager. Your side hustle is doing CAD drawings, or plastering, or building, or plumbing. You've learnt the basics of plumbing. and that's your side hustle, right? Clearly, you want to be in this space. Let's say you're applying for a summer vacation placement as a lawyer, or junior lawyer, junior solicitor, and you write part time. You have a newsletter. You can see certain skills. You're interested in writing. You're going to become a great contract drafter soon. Or let's say you are applying for a role as a finance analyst, right? And you want to get into investment banking, but you have an ebook on how to use Excel spreadsheets and conditional formatting. Really nerdy, I know, but you have an ebook that's like $20 you sell on Etsy, and it's about Microsoft Excel. You're going to stand out. Like, it's a no-brainer. You're gonna win. Like, you're applying for a role at, I don't know, Barclays, Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs, and you're 21 years old, you have a degree, but you sell on Etsy your ebook on Excel. Come and work for me today, because you're going to come in and you're going to do pivot tables, VLOOKUPs, and you're going to put everyone else to shame. So you're going to stand out and you're going to be able to communicate really why you want to be here. Clearly, problem solving, number 2, you're good at. 3, ownership. You've built something that you're selling. So you're going to be able to take responsibility and move things forward and take accountability in that organization. You can't capture that on a CV. But they show up every day in real tasks. So the only way you will stand out now is being able to communicate, have good problem solving, and show some sort of ownership. I'm not saying you have to have a side hustle. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, I've spoken to a few hiring managers now, and they have no issue with people who have a side hustle. So take what you want from that. Yeah.
Cool. I think there's a gem in there. I think like this is all about how you land your first job, right? It's like coming up with something memorable, honing in, getting deep on that subject matter, building some different things around it. You'll find it a lot easier to land that role. Learning how to communicate effectively. You get in the interview, you're going to win the interview. So I think like beyond that, it's kind of like the 80-20, right? Like that feels to me like the 80% of actually landing your first job. A lot of the people that we have watching this stuff are also already in jobs. They're like graduates, they've already landed their first job. And this generation is focused on speed. Like you've probably seen it from people you've interacted with. People will want to get a job fast. They want to climb the corporate ladder fast. If someone's got into their first job now and they want to stand out to their managers, they want to grow quick into that role, they want to stand out to other people, what skills do they need to do that? How do they get from where they are at this entry level, no one really takes a second look at you, to actually climbing your way up through a company?
It's a good question. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but people underestimate how important communication is. And I won't just say communication, I'll give you examples because it sounds like I'm repeating myself. So you're in a job and let's just say you want to get promoted. Yeah? So if you want to get promoted, there's certain actionable steps you'll have to take, certain milestones you might need to meet in order for you to go up the ranks. Now, you need to communicate why you want to get promoted and your plan and your pathway on how you plan to achieve that. Now, there's other people who have been promoted already, so you need to reverse engineer also what they have done to get to where you want to get to. All of that is communication. Typing your goals and logging it in your internal system at work, where your performance criteria and performance goals, your performance goals, entering that information is communicating, right? Explaining that to your manager to get it signed off is communicating. So I'm elaborating because I don't want to just say communication. So once you've done that and you've done those necessary steps, then it's about doing the work, building the projects at work, completing real challenging work, sharing work publicly, well, in a public forum at work, so the right stakeholders, I would say, um, and showcasing why you are worthy of a promotion by, holding your head down and doing the work. Like there's smart work and there's hard work. You need to do a combination of both. But it's quite important that the work you do as well, and why I say you make it clear the work you do, because sometimes people do work and hard work, but it's not seen by the decision makers. So it's very important, and I learned that early in my career, that maybe my manager isn't the only person that needs to know I've done this bit of work. Maybe my manager's manager or my manager's manager's other manager needs to know that, hey, the work that I've done here will have a positive impact on that program or that project. And trying to make sure that you have made that really clear, that you've done that work. It's important that you make the right stakeholders aware you've done that, and that's communication again. Then and the second thing I would say is trying to find like a mentor is super key. So if you can find like a mentor, or some organizations, depending on the size, they have like a buddy that you can pair up with. I've seen that a few times, especially with our clients. Some of the large clients that we have, they have these different programs where they have buddies where you can pair up with. I'd say definitely like leverage of the knowledge of someone internally who's already got to where you want to get to. And I think once you do that and you continually show what you can do, you will be in a position where you will, excel and do well in an organization, because you're showcasing every day your skills and evidence. You're proving it with evidence day in, day out, and that's the only way to do it, really. Like by doing the work, and making sure the right people are aware you're doing the work.
Yeah, I think it's good that you're doubling down on, this message of communicating is really, really important. If, like, for me, I'm quite a introverted guy, for instance. I find it difficult to know how to like approach my boss's boss and say to them, hey, look at this work that I'm doing, in a way that doesn't feel like I'm showboating almost. Should I just like embrace the showboat, or like, is there a way to do it so that I don't come across like that?
There's a great question. So there's a way to do it, and there's no simple answer in terms of how you do it. You need to be able to make good judgment calls. You don't need to email them randomly and say, oh, I've done this piece of work. You don't need to CC them for no reason. Like, there's a way to do it, and this is the challenging part. It's a situation where you could be out at a pub, at an internal gathering with your work colleagues. You could be at a breakout area, and these are situations that have happened to me. I'm hoping it happens to the person listening to this. I'm at the breakout area with my manager's manager, and I say, oh, hey, how are you doing? And they talk to me briefly, or they share a little bit of information about the project they're working on, and say, oh, I'm doing XYZ in support of that project. Oh, wow. And you've raised that, like, that you've raised their awareness now that, oh, okay. I've also been in situations where I mentioned the pub, and I know this isn't for everyone, especially an introvert maybe, but I've been there and I've gone out with work colleagues and conversations have come up. That's why I say go outside. Go outside. Even if you don't drink, go outside, get an orange juice and just hang out with your colleagues. But it's very hard to give you that answer and say, what should you do as an introvert or an ambivert? It's really hard. Because there's no real answer. All you have to do is use your own judgment. Have that level of discernment where okay, maybe right now is not the right time to talk about it. But if I am given the opportunity, don't don't F it up. Like, don't mess it up. Make it clear. Because the ones that do well and the ones that I've noticed have done well, as I said, in their career, are the ones that talk up, man. They're the ones that, some people won't like this comment that I'm about to say as well. It's the ones that are on LinkedIn. They're posting on LinkedIn about the work that they're doing at their company. They are going out to work functions. They're the ones that never take off their lanyard. The ones that really love their job. The ones that be like on the train with their lanyard proud, and you're like, oh God, chill out. Like, we know you have a good job. Like, I'm only joking, but you know what I mean. There's type of people that, like, they make it clear like who they are, their value, their personal brand, and they have that like likability factor about them as well, that people want to work with them. They might not even be the brightest, but people like them. They like their vibe. And then they make it clear the work they're doing because they make up a lot of noise about it. So you can't ignore them. Those are the ones that usually do well. So, introverts can do well. A lot of introverts, they run massive companies. We know a lot of the billionaires in the world are introverts as well. And yeah, your skills can do the talking for you. Mm-hmm. Your skills absolutely can do the talking for you. But in this type of skills economy, I think that there will be an element where people need to talk up, and even if you can't talk up, you can write. As an introvert, you can write content. You're not speaking, you're writing content. So yeah, there's a way around it.
That's exactly what I was about to say. It's like I consider myself like ambivert, and I'll still take to LinkedIn, and I'm posting all the time, and people are reading that, and it shows that. So if you can't do it in person, or you feel like it's not great, post about the project online. Message the manager, send him a link to look at something, vibe code it. You can get pretty creative.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Sweet, awesome. And so another thing I'm interested in, this is some of the work you're doing at CareerGuard. AI is changing a lot about recruitment and the direction that things are moving. What are some of the biggest changes that you've seen in like candidate behavior that are negative and candidates should think twice about?
That's a real simple one. It's the generic AI CV or trying to use AI to answer questions. Like, I've seen it all. There's a new phrase that I think it's called AI slop. I don't know if you've heard it.
AI slop, of course.
Yeah, and oh man, it's annoying. So the main problem in recruitment right now, which is the problem we solve, is the large volume of now applicants to jobs, and those who may have different background, they're just applying. So so our our clients that we work with. I mean, I've got one client that they receive over 16,000 applicants a year, and they're not even a large enterprise. They're like a medium size, under 1,000 headcount.
Wow,
and they get
crazy.
16,000, yeah. Sometimes 300 to 500 applicants per role. It's insane. So the main problem, sorry, I digressed, is one, large volume of applicants, two, generic AI CVs, where they've looked at the job spec and they've tried to use a tool that's out there to improve and enhance their CV based on the job spec, with no proof of any successes that you've done, any metrics or measurable activity that you can list out in your CV that is specific to that role. So we see that a lot. That is a challenge. And as you know, CareerGuard as a platform, we're replacing resumes with test results. So we're pre-employment skills screening. So sometimes candidates will take a test and try to move away from the test and use AI, but we've got AI detection now built into our version that goes to our clients. So yeah, I've seen it all. That's the main challenge. Those three, so cheating in pre-employment skills screening tests, using AI CVs, and the large volume of applicants that our clients now receive. So that's the bad.
I think it's a game of just like trying to dodge the ads that you see come up that are like, oh, do this and review your CV or send 100 applications a minute. Like you just gotta dodge
Annoying.
those.
Yeah.
Awesome, Dominic. We've covered loads here so far. I want to finish us off with just one last question. So if you fast forward 20 years from now, what skill do you think young people should be focusing on that's going to help them be winning when they're 30 or 40 years old?
I mean, the world is changing fast. I'll say you need to remind yourself how to learn and remember that information. That might sound a bit crazy, but I think only a couple of years ago, there was no ChatGPT. There was no Claude. And now in organizations, there's work streams dedicated to educate their team on how to use AI. And if you're not using AI, it's a massive problem. So the world is changing fast. And because of that, the ones that will thrive quickly are those that are able to pick up new skills fast, teach themselves how to use things continuously. And that means you have to be curious, you have to experiment, build things, break things, try and fail. Like you're going to have to, because the ones that do well right now are the ones that they're using AI to, for example, summarize their emails. You know, they've gone on holiday for, I like giving examples. I hate just saying generic stuff like communicate and AI. But like you go on holiday and we all have this problem. Anyone that's worked, you come back from your holiday for a week and you've got a massive inbox of like 500 emails. And you don't know what's moved forward, what's not. Some people start at the bottom. Some people say start at the top because things would have changed. But if you set up some sort of AI tool within your emails, which you can with Gmail, you can summarize all your emails and work out what's going on. You're supposed to return to work on a Monday. The Sunday, you can see a summary. And you go in Monday and you're like, oh, don't need to look at the last 200. They're irrelevant. So do you know what I mean? So, I mean, and that's just one example. There's tons of examples. But I think the ones that will do well moving forward are those that learn how to learn. Because a lot of us who are in our 30s or 40s, I'm not there yet, by the way. Those who are in their 40s, they may have not studied in a long time from maybe their 20s. And they've forgotten actually how to learn. So I think people need to remember how to learn and how to, and don't be afraid if you break something where you're trying to do it and you fail and you try again. Stay curious and learn. Because I mean, last week someone said after AI we now need to learn about quantum computing, and I'm like, whoa! I'm just figuring out AI. Like, what? So yeah, so world is changing fast. So I'd say learning is going to be a very important skill. Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Yeah, keep learning, learn how to learn again. You see it now. I chat to friends who, there's new stuff released every hour with AI, but I'm always like trying it out and trying to figure out. This whole weekend I was spent trying to set up OpenClaw, if you've heard of it. I was like going full in on that. And so it fails like more times than it wins, but I think all of that's part of it. So
trying. Yeah, don't worry, you'll get there. Cool.
Cool. Dominic, it's been awesome to have you on. If people want to learn more, check out your stuff, where should they go?
Yeah, so on LinkedIn, you can find me, Dominic Noel Hay. Please follow CareerGuard as well on LinkedIn. And you can find us www.thecareerguard.com. Any questions you have, feel free to email us, info@thecareerguard.com. And if you need pre-employment skill screening software, if you're a company, please check us out. If you're a candidate and you want to apply for jobs and you want to create a digital CV and apply for roles where companies are looking more about skills and care more about skills than history and what fancy company you worked for in the past, please check us out. That's how you can find me.
Sweet. Awesome, Dominic. It's been great having you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, George. Really appreciate it. It's been good.